Hello and welcome to the channel. Part 7 in the series of bringing back to life Barney, a barn find 1981 Honda CT 110 Trail. In this episode, finished the engine off on Barney, put the left side engine casing on, button up the high-low gearbox, the auxiliary transmission, and finally fire him up and see whether or not Barney has actually quit smoking. So if you've been doing some work on your bike with a high-low gearbox and you've had the side cover off for whatever reason, maybe you've been changing the front sprocket, chances are you'll need a new gasket. If you've got a gasket kit, most of the time they will send you a gasket that looks like this. And this is from a standard CT 110 without the high-low gearbox. The difference being this triangular area just here. So it fits the same. The difference is there, and because just here you have an oil gallery, an oil drain from the high-low gearbox. If you use one of these gaskets without the triangle area there, on the high-low variant, you'll get an oil leak running down the side of your engine there. Well, I need a new gasket in the Stator cover. This is the original, it's broken in half there, and as we've mentioned, most of the gaskets you find in your gasket kits don't have this piece here with the oil drain. It's for the high-low gearbox. So I've got some gasket paper, 0.5 thick. I don't know if you can see that. I've drawn an outline on there. I'm going to use different size hole punches, hopefully to get some nice clean holes. See if I can make a gasket. Obviously I will, because if I don't, you won't see this footage. Well, that's the holes all punched in, a few different sizes. Now it's just a matter of cutting around with the scissors. A bit of patience needed, something that I don't have much of. Well, it's not perfect, but I think it's turned out pretty well. And a bit of paper left over and I can make the small gasket to go on the cover of the high-low gearbox. So not forgetting the neutral switch and the rubber grommet there. I've put the gasket on this side because the dowels have come out on this side. I've put a new seal, kickstart seal in there. And let's see how good my gasket is. There we go. I've put a new seal, a new O-ring in there, and I put a new seal in there. So I'll put the high-low back together. I had problems before, so I've had to re-record this. First thing, the high gear. Sometimes that goes on easy like that, sometimes it doesn't. And this washer has lugs on there. Finally the snap ring or circlip. Push it on. And you should feel it click, and then if you move it, that's fully seated. So the next thing to go on is the low gear and the selector fork. As we feed it on, we need to get this pin located in the selector fork for the lever on the bottom there as well. So as we put that on the spline, selector fork at the bottom. I've got the camera in the way so I can't see what I'm doing. And then as you feed it in, you'll see the fork is engaged there. Leave it out slightly. We can now put the idler gear in place. there's a thrust washer there and a thrust washer there. On earlier variants there was no thrust washer, so don't worry. Now all we need to do is, as we thread this in, this pin locates in the notch there. It's a bit oily, there we go. And that's it. Not forgetting the thrust washer there. And now the gasket, I've already put a thin smear of grease on there. This is my homemade gasket. Now, I've put plenty of oil on there before, so it is oily. And now with the cover with the bearing in there, popping back on. That's it. And that's the high-low gearbox complete. And now the $64,000 question. Will it run? A few more things to do though. I've got the muffler, the exhaust to put back on the footrest, ignition timing to set, to check and set. Let's see. What can I say? It's a Honda.